Why do we exist?
I think optimally we exist to have something like a playful adventure. And I use those two terms. I have specific reasons for using those terms. Now, it's easy to think that to think that our existence is pointless. That's one conclusion. Another is to think that the antidote to pointlessness is something like an impulsive hedonism. Neither of those propositions prove to be of much merit. To be nihilistic and hopeless means that you're anxious and unable to experience any enthusiasm or joy, and that seems like a bad solution. And to fall prey to the temptations of hedonic pleasure means that you'll end up using other people instrumentally and that you'll betray yourself. So that seems like a pretty counterproductive way of going about things. You could imagine perhaps instead that what you want is security, but I would say in some real sense that's what you want if you're a well-tended infant, and that if someone merely provided you with all the security that you could tolerate, you would, as Dostoevsky pointed out, you'd go mad just to break the security so that something interesting could happen. And so I think instead we're built for adventure, right? We're built for an optimal challenge. It's partly why we like to play, because in play you find an optimal challenge. It's almost like the definition of play. And so if you can organize yourself and the world optimally, then you have adventure. And maybe you have the adventure of your life. And if you can do that brilliantly, then you can do it in a spirit of play. And then that's what you need and want. Well, I think the thing that I found most gratifying, I suppose, and I would say this is true for my wife as well, who's accompanying me on all of this, is that I've been able to serve as a spirit of encouragement. And that's what people say. They come and talk to me and on the streets, and where all the encounters I have are positive, by the way, which isn't what you'd expect if you just knew of me, say, virtually. People tell me all the time that they found my work, and then my work draws on the ideas of great clinicians and great thinkers, so these ideas aren't unique to me. But people say, I've had the good fortune of being able to communicate them. People say, I've been listening to your podcasts or your lectures and reading your books, whatever it might be, and I've implemented some of these ideas and things are way better. It's like, I'm engaged, I'm married, I have children, I have a house, I have a job, I'm not in prison, I'm not addicted, I'm aiming up, I'm not hopeless, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious. It's like, good, great, hooray. I thought a long time ago, the left had this idea of long march through the institutions, right? And I thought, that's one way of going about it. There's a longer march through the individuals.
Yeah.
And so, I'm a psychologist. And I think, I believe that each person is made in the image of God. I believe that to be true. I think it's the truest proposition we have. And if that's true, then there isn't anything more valuable than the redemption of any given person. And I also believe that's true. Now, it's strange, right? Because there's lots of people. And you might say, well, if there's 8 billion people, how can the redemption of a single person be the most important thing? My answer to that would be, well, I don't know enough about how the universe is constructed to understand exactly why that's true. But, I read this is a very old idea, it's a very nice idea, that God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. And that's a very interesting vision of the structure of realities, right? There's multiple centers. Now, we can't really conceive of an object with multiple centers, but there's lots of things we can't conceive of, but each of us is a center in some real sense. And I think each of us is a center of divine worth. That's how it looks to me. I think that if you conduct yourself in accordance with that doctrine, that people are pretty damn thrilled to be around you. And I think that when I communicate that to people and they take it to heart, their lives get better. And so for me, it's like, well, we'll see how far that can be extended.
That's
mystery. And as far I've talked this, like I said, I've talked this over with my wife a lot, and what we seem to be doing is exploring how far that can be extended and what the consequences might be.